for tuning in to the Organically Blunt Show, a show dedicated to cannabis and the lifestyle that surrounds it, including cultivation, business, music, food, and everything in between. If you like this podcast, be sure to subscribe and follow us. The content on this show is strictly for educational purposes only. Some things on this show may be considered harmful to some. Organically Blunt does not endorse any harmful activity. If you're not 18 or older, please exit now. This episode is brought to you by Horticulture Lighting Group. The future of horticulture lighting has arrived. Shop the highest yield generating LED lamps in the world. Real efficiency, real yields. Made in the USA.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Organically Blunt. I am Jay Blaze, your host, and this evening I have the honor and the opportunity to interview Frozen Extracts, and we have with us this evening Damien. Welcome to the show, Damien.
How you doing? Great to be here. Thanks for bringing me up.
Excellent. So before we get into things with you, I want to give everybody kind of a prelude of how we cross paths, and that'll definitely play forward into the rest of the evening here. So I had a friend that he owns a CBD store here in my town, and he reached out to me one morning and he said, "Hey man, I know you're involved with cannabis just like me. I have a wife, obviously he's married, that just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And the doctor said, you know, chemo's a little rough, but we're going to go forward through it with that and the radiation, but we want to cut the edge off, and we want to make sure she can still eat and kind of relieve her pain and everything." He asked me if I knew anybody that made RSO. So me being the person that I am, I put the word out, and a great group of friends of mine and a great event center called Big Cloud Farms. And we put the word out, and the first person to respond and ask where he could send the medicine was Damien. And I can't thank you enough, man. You changed the life for so many people that you touched that day, and you don't even realize it. And I want to thank you. But a lot of people don't know what RSO or any of these other forms of concentrate and distillates are, me included, because I'm strictly a flower guy. So I would love for you to not only tell us how you got into things, but kind of give us a small education on what things are and how they're used.
Awesome, of course. So let's start with crude oil, and that'll kind of coincide with how I got into all this. My mentor, after I started growing for about 8 years ago, my mentor was somebody who was also doing crude oil at the time, and it just so happened he kept asking me to come over and check out what he was doing and how to make it. And as you can imagine, that kind of spiraled into making bigger and better things and seeking out, what exactly the science behind all this is. And it was such a quick snowball effect that it kind of attracted me to it. I had a partner at the time. His name was Kevin. He was my roommate at the time. And so he was able to also kind of connect the dots where maybe I wasn't at the time. And so I definitely owe a lot to those guys. But crude oil in and of itself is exactly what it sounds. It is the crudest form of oil without refinement that comes out when you do an extraction with any form of solvent. And there's this interesting debate between the community where you have Rick Simpson's oil, which is RSO, which is what you were seeking out. And there's another type of extract going around, which is widely known, called FECO, FECO, full extract cannabis oil. And there's this ongoing debate, argument between the community that RSO and FECO oil, there's some big difference, or that there is somehow some scientific way that FECO has more benefits because in theory it is a full extract cannabis oil, whereas it's somehow negating the idea that when you use other solvents, you're still using the full plant. So FECO is mainly ethanol, and that's where that comes from. Ethanol is very widely accessible. You know, you can go many places and get 200 proof ethanol, or you can use Everclear. Everclear is even more accessible to the general public. It's just a little more expensive. And those are fine ways to soak your cannabis and then boil that off, filter it, refine it. And then you have a very crude form of an oil. And, you know, you can take that further too. For many years up until very recently, a lot of us in the community were just doing a very black type tar. You see it everywhere. There's nothing wrong with it. It just maybe doesn't taste the best. And I know, especially with some of my patients, they don't have some strong stomachs. Kind of what happens when we're sick is, you know, our stomachs aren't the strongest in general. So when you have an oil that is extremely potent in taste, mouthwash doesn't do it, just kind of lingers there. And also when it's really hard on your stomach too, it's kind of like a heartburn, indigestion, burning feeling. And the point of this medicine is kind of to be medicine, right? If you're getting a terrible experience while you're having a terrible experience, it's just kind of counterintuitive in that respect. So we started refining the cannabis oil under what is called chromatography. The cannabis community widely knows that as like CRC. It's a bad name under that, but the same basic polar media that we use there is the same thing that you use in water filtration and other forms of refinement that we ingest on a daily basis. So it's kind of a null point for me in that respect. But the cannabis oil in itself, from like Rick Simpson, he basically says on his website that, you know, you can use any solvent, doesn't matter. He suggests not using butane because it just requires really expensive equipment. Butane is extremely volatile. I'm sure everyone's heard of someone blowing up somewhere in some point, which is unfortunate. But just because of the equipment that we do run to create higher extract and more isolated forms of cannabis oil, we have that equipment and we're able to do that. So again, to the Rick Simpson oil that we do create, the crude oil, it is just a natural byproduct that comes out of the machine. And we do have the availability, just because of the equipment that we have, also to do full plant runs and create like multiple soaks on that. But when a lot of it is just our machine is spitting out, you know, 50, 60 grams a run in crude oil, and, you know, you collect that over a couple weeks, it seems silly not to kind of give that away, you know? And so it's a really great honor to be able to help the general public in that respect as well. I know it can be pretty expensive in dispensaries.
Definitely. You know, speaking of that, you know, I'm friends with another place that is kind of just promotes the caregivers and the rights and everything, and that's Michigan Gyms and Genetics. And he just put something on there that struck my mind when you said it's expensive. He put on I call it a meme or whatever you want to call it, a picture up, and he put the text on it, and it said that through a medical prescription or dispensary type thing, that for a patient to get what they need in RSO on a monthly basis, it was $2,000 plus. And it was like with the caregiver giving it to them, it was like a quarter of that cost.
Yeah, I did. I believe that's Dan, maybe, but I know that account that you just said. I'm gonna do something really quick on my calculator. You said
sure.
1,000. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, that's on the low end of things too. So for full cancer treatment, you're looking at about 90 days worth of cannabis or worth of grams. So those come in those little 1 gram syringes as well. And so at 2,000 over 90 days, you're looking at $22, right? And that, to me, that's actually cheap. I've seen Ohio's menu, like they were at $100 a syringe, right? But we'll just be reasonable for some simple calculations here. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw like 40 grams or $40 a gram per syringe over 90 days. And, that's $3,600, which, I mean, it's, I guess in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at chemo as well and what that can cost, that's crazy. It's mind-boggling, especially when insurance sometimes maybe won't cover something like that. So when we're doing it for our patients, let's see. Sorry, I did that. So for our patients, if I'm not giving it away, we would just charge $450 for a 90-day package like that. I want to be doing more giveaways. No, I was just gonna say I want to be doing more giveaways off the Instagram account, but sometimes, with our customer demand and some certain clients, our RSO is either going this way or we're either able to give a couple out but yeah, the 1 month, I think like a month and a half ago, we were able to give 100 grams out to somebody.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool too.
That's impressive, man. Just the feeling, to be so, I hate to say it, you're restoring hospitality and community. And that's the two values that I live by the greatest. I've been saying that to people for years. That's my goal, is to restore hospitality and community, showing that somebody still cares, that the world hasn't gone fully cold yet. There's still people out there that are not greedy. They're not about all the money. They have the passion for what they do, as I can tell you do. And it's a great feeling. My grandfather had prostate cancer. It started in the prostate, and it was scary when we first found out. We all sat down with him, and he decided he was going to do the chemo. He wanted to try it, and he went through the chemo and the radiation. He did 48 treatments, and it wasn't great. It made him go benign. It didn't come back for a long time, and then next thing you know, it came back, and it was in the colon, and so it spread from the prostate to the colon somehow, even though it went benign for a while. And then it went from the colon to his stomach lining. And then unfortunately I lost him 2 years ago to COVID. But yeah, if we could have knew about RSO back when he was, I bet you things could have been a lot more different for us, definitely. But
just for comfort.
Yep. Especially right before he died. It was so crazy. He used to sit there in his chair, his recliner, and slap himself in the stomach, literally punch, slap. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, you ain't going to believe it. And I'm like, what? Tell me. And he's like, you ain't going to believe what I say, but I'm going to tell you anyway. He says, I can feel the cancer eating me inside. He said, I can feel it. And I'm like, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I would not want to experience that. There was just so much pain. He said it felt like he could feel it eating at him. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Definitely. So
yeah,
to have something that can cut that pain, it's not addicting. It's not an opiate of some sort. It's not radiation that's harmful or anything like that. Your hair's not going to fall out. Your fingernails ain't going to turn black and fall off. It's a godsend. That's the only way I can put it, Yeah.
And it's such an unfortunate side that we don't have the proper research and funding on, say, a federal level that would change a lot of questions, because there's anybody out there that tells you they know what's in a full extract cannabis oil plant or extract is just simply lying, because there are at least 200 compounds in the marijuana plant that we just don't know about because we can't get that federal funding. And to even go further than that, a lot of the problems with our testing labs are we are still just looking at the plant in terms of THC potency and terpenes. And it's great that we have the availability to test for like pesticides and heavy metals and things like that, moisture content, things that could be like upfront very harmful to us, right? But at the same respect, we need to be testing so much more, right? I just recently had a conversation with PSI Labs and one of their managers on about just if there would ever be a future where we would have flavonoid testing. which is a huge opportunity to start learning about things outside of just terpenes, right? Or
Definitely.
if we could ever get methyl ester tests, or if we could get tests for tannins or aldehydes. And so it's just like there's a lot of the parts that we're missing in this, but what we do know for a definitive fact, like, is that THC will reduce cancer and tumor cells. And that's not going to be 100% of the time, but we do know that in most cases, like 90% or higher, that THC will pull that down. And that other 10% of knowledge and question is going to come when we do get federal funding testing. And when we are able to, maybe there is a random compound in the plant that we are just extracting as a byproduct of what we're naturally doing. And maybe that is what's causing it. Or maybe there is some synergistic relationship between THC and another compound, right? And it only works when you have those two. And that's why the other 10% aren't being affected. And it's simply just who extracted what. But, again, questions that we can't answer.
Right. I would love to, and I'm just speaking off my mind, I don't know all the formalities of your said industry and what you're involved in, but it would be great to see it get to a point where you guys get some federal grants to where you could test for testing, you know what I mean? To pay for it. I mean, that way we can get the results and maybe uncover something extraordinary. It's there. It's just they've hid it for so long, from the public, that the public still, even though we're getting closer to that federal point, I feel like we're not quite there yet. But I feel like that, people are getting more educated and they're starting to come out of what I call the closet a little bit more. But a lot of people are still afraid. Like my own family, they run a hemp farm, and I can't even get them to come on the show because they're like, no, I'm not showing my face. I don't want nobody to know my name, nothing. And I'm like, dude, you got licensing, the community, the county already knows who you are. Like, what are you hiding from? Like, but it's the prohibition of it. People are still, they're still the way it is. We're still in that, what I call that Nixon mindset. When it all started with Nixon, pretty much in my opinion, and he wanted everybody to think it was bad, and here we are. I mean, but now we're getting back onto definitely back onto track of where we should be. Yeah. I hope it continues to go that way, definitely. So, do you have a like a website set up where people can see your products and stuff like that?
So just because of where we're at right now, I'm in this gray area between trying to get myself out of the streets, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible unfortunity because the industry that I'm in right now and the regulations that they have when you want to go and open, like, even if you were to go to a processing license, or even worse, which we're trying to go for, is the micro business license, which holds retail and processing and growing, and you be able to facilitate that all in your one location. Is that every one of those sections has their own regulations for the city to come in, and you have to make their compliances. And when we're dealing with butane is one of the most volatile solvents that we have out there. It goes big boom and it causes damage. So they want you to have, your C1D1 booths, which are great. They're great instruments to provide that first line of defense, your safety protocols. But also too, then they want you to have these big firewalls, not just on every side, on your horizontal sides, but also on your ceiling. And even better, they want you to have a firewall underneath. And so then they have certain regulations on how much butane you can carry within that area, right? And so they kind of have us by the balls in a certain respect. So to go full circle here, it's a money thing. It's a financial situation. And while we are in a position that we are probably on our way there, we don't want to give up our ideology and ethics to somebody which we've had investors want to come in here and invest. And it's not that we can't make that happen. It's really just that we don't want that to happen, because
No, right.
Provide the community. It like on the poster here, it's, you know, we want to fulfill the ethics of Beyond Top Shelf, right? Like it was something my buddy started. It was his company for the longest time. He is recently deceased. And he's probably been gone for a couple of years now, but his company was Beyond Top Shelf, and always wanted to find a way to be able to honor that, you know, and it just kind of worked so well that his business model, or his business, was a slogan. It's an ethic. It's a way of how we do things. It's how we set our protocols. And so, yeah, definitely Beyond Top Shelf is something that we always want to strive towards, whether that be on our product or whether that be behind the scenes, and how our people handle our products, and just the thought behind all that. It's definitely something I want to strive towards.
Definitely. You know, man, it's just so impressive. You know, I'm so naive to the other forms of all this, you know, and it's really cool, you know, when I go to these events and I see how different forms of the cannabis plant are uptake. That's the only way I can put it in the terms for me to even explain it. You know, I've tried dabs once and I never went back because I got sick. It's my lung capacity. With my disease, it makes it harder. And not necessarily like asthma. It's harder for me to breathe. Yeah. Because I have a lot of sinus problems too. So, but you know, to see like our background here, to see it, you know, I remember when I seen it in this type of form, whatever you call this product here. I honestly don't know.
Diamonds.
Diamonds. Okay.
It's an isolate, but yeah, we know it as diamonds, but it's a pure isolate.
Okay. I've seen it in almost like a beer look, I want to say. Maybe it's a different product, but like a yellowish. I've seen it. I heard that the clearer it gets, the more pure it is. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. All right. Now, is this something, like I said, I'm naive. So I come from a very small town. So like, is this something that you would use in a dabbing rig, or how do you use it is what I want to know. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the one go-to for it. There are other applications. A friend of mine is doing like super high-end quality joints, and so he has these diamonds, and they crush them down into a powder, right? And so when they take their sauce, the terpene resins that come off this extract, they'll roll that in the outside of the joint. And then they'll take the isolate and then they'll sprinkle it on that and probably throw some keef in, or, you know, I've seen them throw that diamonds inside of the joint as well, help it burn down the middle. But yeah, they're doing some crazy stuff. We'll take isolate like this and we'll decarboxylate it, and then we'll turn that into the base instead of using distillate for our vape cartridges. You know, that's a big one on the market right now. People are a little tired of distillate. Even though I don't care what anybody says, distillate is great for its own specific use, and there are things that we can use it for that are great. But you know, for high quality cannabis products, a lot of the time people want something more than just like distillate has a bad rep.
I got another weird question. I'm gonna ask you some weird questions. I'm just trying to get educated, and I'm trying to educate the audience if they don't know. So, what is obviously the consistency and the way it is, but what is the difference between diamonds and what they would call sauce? You know, I've heard that term too. Is that just, did they just take it and make it into a liquid format, or is it a totally different product? Or
so yeah, it in the sense of its consistency, it's in what it holds. It's a completely different product from one another, but the sauce comes off of the THC, so it is a separated task. So when we jar that up or put it in a diamond miner, we're going to get our THC after it crashes out of the solution. And what remains in the solution is going to be your resins, your terpenes. People will just say terpenes. There's more than that in there. And so then it makes it really easy to be able to take this diamond hard mass of a substance and then just pour off the liquid into another container and then be able to then purge off your residual solvents on both. And then it's just a matter of how you want to then use those two materials. I know people who want them back together. I know people who want just their diamonds, right? Our company right now, all we're really doing right now is diamond and sauce separation so that we can fulfill our cart orders and everything. The market has been so volatile that, a year ago, we would have never been thinking about doing this just because of the price point. And then we're up in this weird roller coaster and everyone's trying to race to the bottom right now. And trying to figure out metrics in an ever-changing industry right now is a carnival ride. So
definitely, I just talked to another podcast that was talking about kind of the same thing, and they said over there, that a lot of these, like you said, you've been approached by an investor. A lot of it, they said that there's going to be a lot. They forecast that a lot of that's going to be coming in the near future. That these big name investors and these celebrities, they're going to come in and swoop in and buy these mom and pops that are established and take them over, because then they don't have to set the footwork, but yet they have the funding. And I'm like, I don't support that one bit. I love my celebrities. Like, for example, probably the best one that I've seen, in my opinion, lately is Snoop Dogg.
I just seen that today.
Yeah, he is a true smoker. Like, he's gonna know what a good product is. He smokes it all day, every day. And now for him to be able to share that with us, we're gonna be smoking the shit Snoop Dogg smoking. Hell yeah, I want to hit that. But at the same time, for other people, that get into it, and I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I'm sure they have. But you look at other brands. I won't throw any celebrity names out there, but you look at other brands and you're like, that guy's probably never smoked it in his life. Like,
yeah, there's some athletes that I had seen too. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. I got a friend who works for I think it's Ben Wall. Was it Ben Wallace or no? I forget the guy's name. He was a baseball player. Jeter. Yep. He is part owner of one of them down by Detroit, and she works down that way. And I'm like, that's cool and all. And then I heard it on another show, and they're like, well, he doesn't really know. And I'm like, well, okay, all right. I see where that's going now.
It's going to be even worse when they release that federal ban, because it's just an inevitability. You're going to start seeing companies like Marlboro and all these other big cannabis or these other tobacco companies. They're coming for them. They probably already have the backdoor deal already agreed upon by handshake, verbal agreements. We're coming for you. And you're going to start seeing 25 million, $1 billion buyouts to companies like Skynet or, the big ones that are backdoor compiling their class C license already, their 5,000 counts, because you can stack them. Or you can stack them and then have your buddy or your wife stack another couple. There are ways around all of these that, this is just what business is. And my opinions upon right or wrong on that, because I don't necessarily support it, but I have an understanding that that is just simply what business is. And anybody who wants to keep the blanket veil over their eyes that couldn't foresee that this is what it was always going to be once we legalized it. You didn't think that the moment that we legalized things that the ones with the most power were going to want their hands in it. And that's just how it is. So trying to just navigate yourself to be able to fit in to that playground, I think is really important as well, because you don't have to sell your soul to be able to play in this game. And I think I've watched a lot of guys do that, a couple friends doing that. And maybe it's not that. I don't, but at the same time, you can protect yourself by just having a little bit of patience. And if you're good at what you do, and if you're still in this industry right now, you probably are, or you're foolish and you just, I don't know. You could drive yourself broke if you really want. But if you're in this, you got to be good at something you're doing. And if that's the case, just believing in yourself, I think, is really key to a lot of this too, because you don't have to give up those rights. You don't have to give up your ideologies. If a big company wants to come in and tell you, all we're doing is we're going to steam horse distillate until the sun comes home, running 24 hours, you get 2 employees, let's make it work. That doesn't have to be the case. The thing is, as soon as you sign that contract, it doesn't matter how you feel. You're in it to win it, and if you lose, you're gonna lose. Someone's losing those millions. It ain't gonna be them.
Definitely. Man, it's crazy, and I've seen different companies and even different podcasts totally have to pivot a whole other direction, just from last year. And I'm like, man, things change. You're going to see changes from me too, but my changes are to make it better for the people. I'm not making it better for my pocketbook or anything like that. I'm making it better for all you guys out there watching right now and everybody else that watches my videos and supports the show. That's what I'm here for. And, so I usually get into asking a few personalized questions to kind of see where you've been with cannabis as a person. And the first question I typically ask everybody is, when did you come across cannabis and where did you find it?
So that's, man, back in high school, right? Where do we all find it? Back in high school. So 2 misdemeanors later, went to college, and it was just dumb kid stuff, right? I mean, I don't feel like I'm the only one with charges. I know the guys I work with, we're just legal drug dealers now, is what it really is. Whatever. They made the rules. We're just gonna play in them. So, but at the same time, probably 7th grade, or no, 10th grade. 10th grade is when I found cannabis. But really, my friend who I had mentioned, one of my best friends at the time, before he passed, I had just graduated the College for Creative Studies downtown. So I just got my degree. I was fresh out, just got a new place. And he's like, you got to grow. Just got to grow. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? You got to grow. What are you doing? So I'm like, no. I'm like on my high horse. I just went to college. What are you doing? Stop it. So, and then my girlfriend at the time kind of convinced me, babe, come on. We got to grow. What are you doing? And of course, then, okay, babe. So we threw a couple plants down there. And I don't know, call it what you want, but it's as if I just found myself with the plant, So we were able to grow for 4 years before we found extracts, and it's a blessing. I know how other people feel about it. To me, just to be with a room full of plants, it was nothing like it. I mean, I've been around plants, right? I walk outside, plants, but something about this plant, it's really awesome. So, and I know a lot of people appreciate that as well.
Definitely. Me the same way. I've been in some large outdoor gardens. Like I said, my family owns a hemp farm. So I've seen that. I've seen fields of it. But to go inside a building full of it, and you're like, it just flabbergasts you. You look around and you're like,
yeah.
Right. And I had that opportunity twice already this year with 2 different micro grows right here in my town. And then next weekend we get our first consumption lounge open. They didn't want to. I tried to get them to come on the show. They couldn't line it up. They weren't allowed to. I'm guessing it might be franchised. I don't know. But long story short, they want to throw me a VIP to come check it out. And they're having a big event next weekend, but I probably won't be able to get time away from work. But we'll see. And but it's definitely been wild. But I want to give a quick shout out to a few people here that we got in the chat. You know, we got Jay Patrick here. We got Sacred Gardens. We got Lone Stars, LARF. We've got High on Homegrown. Sorry, I apologize. Which is another podcast from the other side of the pond. And they're here visiting with us tonight. So we got some great guests. You know, we got some UKs. We got some Aussies. We got some people from Canada. We got a little bit of everybody out there tonight watching. So it's kind of cool, definitely. You know,
yeah,
so,
I'm taking a look at the chat right now too.
Yep, High on Homegrown is from the other side of the pond. You know, we've been talking for a while here. They got a lot of great guests lined up. If you guys haven't had a chance, check them out too. It's great to see what's going on the other side of the pond. You know, you know, Ireland's having crackdowns and other places are having crackdowns that you wouldn't even believe. If you chime into this show, you'll hear it. You know, you'll definitely see what's up with the other side of the pond. You know, like he said, it's 2 a.m. over there right now. So he's on bar time watching our show. So we appreciate him. Hopefully he's partaking in a good joint or something like that. You know, definitely. Yep. Like Rusty said, we got both sides of the pond covered tonight. So definitely, really cool. You know, it's really cool how the audience, even after we record, we don't always have the biggest live audience because YouTube doesn't let people know. So if people's watching, please subscribe, click that bell so you can get notified that we're doing these. But that rolls into my second question with you that we always ask people. Okay, so you're feeling good, you got a good buzz, you're high, you get hungry. What is your go-to munchie?
Pasta.
Oh, yeah.
Pasta. I'd eat it dry.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a first though. It's usually somebody saying something sweet, salty, or sticky, or sour, or whatever. So to hear pasta is unique, definitely. So, you know, you've been around the plant for a long time now, and I'm sure you've been in situations where you haven't had the best luck of the surroundings where you're not supposed to be smoking there, but you wanted to partake. What would you say the riskiest place you've ever smoked was?
Airports.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, definitely.
Airports. I'm always smoking in airports.
Definitely.
Yeah, riskiest place. I don't know.
Okay.
It's got to be airports.
Yeah, if you like the audience is saying, you know, if you know Mackie, you know how he always says yes. That's his thing, you know, and that's him from High on Homegrown. That's just his thing. If anybody listens to them, they'll know what Rusty's talking about. But definitely back to things here. I got one more question that we kind of ask about yourself, and then I kind of am going to give you the mic and kind of let you take the show where you want it to go. If you want to wrap it up, we can do that too, and we'll just go from there. So the last question I typically ask my guests is, if you could smoke with anybody dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Oh, I'm just got to pick something. Oh, man.
What I usually do and what I tell my guests is typically the first thing that pops in your mind. Keep it organic.
Yeah, you know what though, and if I had time, it wouldn't be this. But you know what, Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses.
That would be badass.
Or Slash, since we're on the same topic of all that. So that or Slash. I obviously came from a rock background, but
definitely,
we're just gonna go that way.
Definitely. Rusty said Jesus and Judas, which would be definitely different. You know, our last episode, the guy said Martin Luther King. You know, I would definitely like to sit down with him and talk to him too. You know, just his knowledge on things. You know, I mean, there's so many different people. But
I like Jesus, honestly.
I
go with Jesus.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
or Tupac. There it is, right in the chat.
Yep, definitely. You know, we got a lot of great legends and pioneers in this industry. You know, realistically, you know, my goal is I've smoked with the Mindo Dope Boys. I've smoked with the Cottonmouth Kings last summer. I've smoked with a few other people throughout the year. My next step is if he ever gets over here on this side of the pond, and to one of the events that I'm at, I'm gonna smoke with Jorge Cervantes, and
I see him on your podcast too. That was awesome.
Yep. I see that as being realistic. Let me put it that way. And
where's he from?
He is from Barcelona, Spain.
Okay.
Yep. That's where he's staying now. So it's pretty cool. You know, they're 6 hours ahead of us, so it's a little bit different, but it's cool. You know, and you know, Chad Westport, we had him on, and Ted Hussey. You know, I can see smoking with them guys. You know, my goal for this year, I don't know if it's going to happen, but my goal is hopefully maybe a couple sponsors or partners can help me out along the way. I want to go to MJ Biz. I want to go to Las Vegas. I got to check it out. I got to see what's out there. I should go to Barcelona. If I go to Barcelona, I'm going to study my family's history, because I've been studying it for years. And my family actually comes from a small town. It's about an hour north of the Netherlands, Amsterdam, and that is a small country called Blaricum. And my last name is actually that country. And I won't get into my full last name and pronounce it and put myself out there, but my last name stands for from Blaricum, but it got changed as it came over the pond. We have a coat of arms there. We have a castle. We have a cemetery. We have a street. Like, everything's named. Like, let me come over and knock on the castle door and let me smoke a doobie on the drawbridge or something. You know, like, I want to do something cool like that. Definitely. You know. Definitely an Euro trip. You know, and like High on Homegrown said, they're going to have Jorge on their show here coming up. So it'll be interesting, you know, to hear what they have to say, because I hate to say it, they're more educated. They have a lot more loops in their belt than I do. And just to hear them get in depth, it'll be cool. You know,
I thought it already happened. So he's coming on soon.
He's been on our show, but he's going on another podcast.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's going on the one from across the pond, and it'll be cool to see their take on things. You know, definitely. So, awesome. Do be on the drawbridge right over the moat. You got it. And, you know, there might be some alligators down there or something, but hey, it'd still be cool. You know, definitely knock in and say, hey, I'm that distant cousin from the United States. What room is mine? You know, I mean, they probably got 140 rooms in the place. Who knows? I don't know, but definitely. Yep. And they're going to have Tommy Chong on again. So you guys got to check them out. We got a lot of similar guests coming on this show too. So, but, you know, frozen extracts, I guess I do have another question for you, and it probably speaks to itself. How did you come up with the name, and how long have you been under this name?
So, so I'm in the beginning when I was with my friend before he passed away. Beyond Top Shelf was his company. At the time, you know, because everything happened so fast here. So I wasn't just a couple of years ago. I wasn't trying to have my face out there, my name out there, any of that. And I was just using his name, the BTS, Beyond Top Shelf label. And once he passed, started kind of figuring out, you know, the branding situation had to be done. We have a name, and so we're going to move forward with the micro business. We want to be Elemental Wellness. And so Frozen Extracts, as we're going to just have it right now, is kind of one thought of that, one category of what we plan to do there. And so with our elements, you know, we're going to want to provide something under a fire monogram or monocle, and then you got your ice, water, you got earth, you got wind, right? And so we want to think about our products in that terms, right? And so while the extracts are just what we do, right? That's 100%. Some of my friends grow, we kind of gave that up just to be able to be specific in what we do. And so that's kind of where we focus. And, you know, I don't want to give away anything other than that. But when we do have Elemental Wellness open as a provisioning center, we will have 4 distinct different sectors to that, retail space that will provide 4 different experiences. We'll
Definitely.
just have different products, and they'll all be reflective of that element.
Well, the good thing about the wellness part, like you said, it kind of creates an umbrella to where you can encase the other brands and products right under it, and it gives you that opportunity from a marketing and promotion standpoint to where it's a little more, I hate to say it, publicly accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it easier just for the public's eye. I totally see it. I've seen it a few other times with other companies. I've seen a CBD company completely change their name to it had wellness in the name also, but just because of the ease, especially even when I hate to say it, came to banking, yeah. They hear wellness, they're thinking medical. They're not thinking cannabis related at all. So
Right.
these banks aren't giving them as much of a hassle, which is good. Definitely.
The banks will come in time. There's some really good banks here in Michigan, Dart Bank being one of them, that will, within reason, do business with cannabis holders right now. But, we really want everything that we think about, everything that we provide to our patients, to the public. We really want to have as much forethought put into that, and so the goal is there. We may tweak it along the way to try to make it, but we definitely, like, even with the name, the moment you're going to walk in the doors, we're going to make it so that our customers and our patients, they feel something different. Whether that be they're getting some knowledge along the way, or maybe it's just dressed up in a different manner, they're going to absolutely feel like they got a different experience when they come out of our retail space. And that's something that we can absolutely promise at this point. But getting there, again, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, because I get very passionate about the idea of what we want to provide to our clients, because, again, the craft being the way of the future, at least in my opinion. We're definitely just looking for a way to stand out.
Definitely. Well, we just passed the 45-minute mark. Typically, people like to be here for about an hour. It's up to you. It's free range. If there's anything else you want the audience to know, now is the time to do it. Where they can find you, where they can connect, what we can expect in the future. Not necessarily give anything away, but can we find you at any upcoming events? What are some of your plans for this upcoming season, where we can maybe spot you at and try some of these products?
Absolutely. So right now, we were doing a couple events as we were getting close to the holidays. Your boys, Big Clouds Farms and Raw Dream Events. So they do awesome work on the other side of the state. Awesome people. But right now, with our orders and everything, we are stacked. I couldn't breathe if I tried. And flying out tomorrow, or I'm flying out on Saturday to Denver for a diamond making class. Dread Pirate, Diamond Alchemy, and one other, I forget. But they're teaching that through the Good Life Gang. If you guys don't know about the Good Life Gang, go online, check that out. Amazing guys. Like, they open source every piece of extraction and growing information out there. Future 420 or 4200, Future 4200. Go online, look them up. Any questions you have that anybody can't give you, they're going to find it on there. It's a Reddit for any form of cannabis knowledge and anything like that. It's a great place, great people. They're not going to mess with you. It's a great place for open sourcing everything. Outside of that, where to find me? You can find me on Instagram at Frozen Extracts, Frozen_extracts. We're going to have a lot of cool information coming out in the future about where to find us, what we're doing that's new. We rebranded some of our packaging that we have these awesome boxes that we're waiting for. And then, so we got all these other forms. We're just waiting on the boxes. They got held up by the new year. So as soon as that comes out, you're going to be able to see a whole brand new lineup that's coming out from Frozen Extracts as well. And then you can find us on Facebook. We have a page on there. It's called Frozen Extracts Open Source. That's not a page where we're going to do sales. That's simply just a page that's going to inform you about cannabis news, anything that we find interesting when we come across articles like that. Anything from, how to take a dab to what terpenes do, or methyl esters or tannins, or, we're going to try to give you as much as possible. And then we're also going to set up a community page here too on Facebook. Not to say that's where we're going to do sales or anything like that, but we're going to have available pictures of work, just kind of to mimic what Instagram does. And if Facebook has a problem, we'll just have it taken down, and that'll be that. Instagram does well enough, but it's nice to have a community page for people to come together outside. Like, just the page isn't going to do much well. So yeah.
Have you, and this is a thing for our audience too, if you guys haven't, check out Social Club. It's another new outlet. It's cannabis accepted and related, and it's kind of a cannabis atmosphere. We're on there. You guys can follow us as Organically Blunt. Tommy Chong's over there, Ed Rosenkrantz. All the big names are over there, the Cottonmouth Kings. It is the place to be now because you're not dealing with the chance of getting it took down. So if you ain't on there, check it out. It's pretty cool. They got a phone app for Android and iPhone in the Play Store, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I'm just giving them a simple plug here. A lot of people have been making the switch. Some people have shut down their Instagram, and they've made it where they're strictly over there. You can put video on there. You can put pictures, the whole nine. It's pretty cool to know that you're about 90% of the accounts on there, you're dealing with the person firsthand. It's not somebody else or a spam count or anything like that. So it makes it nice because you're legitimately, if you message Ed's gonna see it. So it's legit, definitely. But definitely, so you got a lot of cool stuff coming up. You're overly busy. You're helping people. What? I guess my last question I want to end this with is, if you could give one example that touched your heart in the last 90 days of you helping people, what would it be?
It
don't have to be named.
One of my partners, actually, over the summer, I was in a position where went to make an investment, right? And I thought I was really confident behind it all, had a lot of money into it all. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I was kind of his mentor, I suppose, as he so says. And I just didn't see it coming. And I didn't know, I was already failed in it. And I just knew I was like, and out of nowhere, he came in and saved the day. Got all the money back, a little bit extra, and just really reminded me that even though I kind of focus in on what I'm doing, and the good deeds aren't an expectation. There is no expectation when doing something like that. So just to kind of see the homie come out of nowhere, flying in with a cape, really touched me. And it's those little reminders too that can keep my engine going, and so to speak. Like, sometimes I feel a little drained of it all, but that was a really good reminder, and I've had others too along the route.
Definitely
I'm doing this for a reason, and just keep strong, keep giving away stuff. Definitely.
Well, I want to welcome you to what I call the Organically Blunt family. Now you're now part of the family. You've done an episode with us, and we appreciate you coming on the show, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be in touch with you, and we'll chat it up throughout the future, and maybe later in the year, once you got things rolling, we'll unveil like a grand opening or something for you on here, and kind of just let people know, where you're at now, kind of an update. So.
Absolutely. And just one more thing before I go. If anybody out there, and then anybody that watches this in the future, if you have somebody in your family, or somebody that is dealing with cancer or some autoimmune disease, and you feel it beneficial, come on over, reach out to Frozen Extracts. That, again, is Instagram, frozen_extracts. Send me a message. And, within reason, I can't imagine I can sustain 100, 200 more people, but if it's like that, come reach out to us. We're more than happy to get you started on some cannabis oil and figure out, what you need and the amount that you need. A lot of times that'll be no charge. We'll just make sure that you kind of get on your way. And if it helps, it helps, and we can move forward with that. So again, don't feel bad. Reach out. We'll try to help.
Definitely. Everybody, thank you for becoming a part of the Organically Blunt show this evening. If you ain't subscribed, click that bell so you can get notified of our next episode, which will be coming soon. And we look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for checking out Organically Blunt. Have a good evening.
You've been listening to the Organically Blunt Show, a cannabis lifestyle podcast that's raw, uncut, and unedited. Thanks for listening to the show. We would like to give thanks to this episode's partners: Grow Strong Industries, the mother brand of Gorilla Grow Tint, Kind LED, and Lotus Nutrients. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Seedsman Seeds, a trusted seed bank with over 20 years in the industry. Use coupon code Organically Blunt 10. Horticulture Lighting Group, HLG, real efficiency, real yields, and made in the USA. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Rain Science Grow Bags, one-of-a-kind mesh grow bags that eliminate problems and increase yields. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Growth Bags, the best curing solution to save terps. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Captain Redbeard Seeds, genetics that are loyal to the soil. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Humboldt Seed Company, Humboldt's original seed. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Fishhead Farms, the maker of fish shit, the most robust beneficial bacteria on the market. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Sofim Genetics, quality genetics at a fair price. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Green Wolf Genetics. These genetics come from a wolf pack that runs with quality and no BS. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Utopic Essential Nutrients. Discover the truth. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. Stream Gardening, world-leading mycorrhizal fungi. Dry tints, because we all need a place to dry that harvest. Use coupon code Organically Blunt. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And in the meantime, follow us on Instagram at Organically Blunt or on Social Club at Organically Blunt. You can reach us also via email at organicallyblunt@gmail.com. Organically Blunt can be found where you listen to podcasts such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Anchor.fm, and Apple Podcasts. See you next time on the Organically Blunt Show.